Welcome back to TSO Daily Dose. Today I'm sitting down with our principal double bassist, Stuart Thomson, to talk about his journey into music, into double bass, and how he ended up at the end of the world down here in Hobart. Stuart, thanks for coming in.
Thanks, Mitch.
So you're not a native Tasmanian like most of us in the orchestra. You're from...
From the UK.
From the UK?
Yeah.
Whereabouts in the UK?
I grew up in the south of England, near Southampton.
Near Southampton. Oh, okay. I got confused because I know that you studied in Manchester. Is that right? So tell me how you got into double bass.
Oh, God. Well, my school had a pretty good music system. They had really good visiting peripatetic music teachers. And we could pretty much choose whatever instrument we wanted. So at that time, fractional-sized instruments were fairly new to the scene, and my school had just bought a half-size bass.
Okay.
I was 9, and I distinctly remember them giving us a class on this instrument, and I thought, wow, that's really cool. I want to have a go at that. So when the music teacher came around the classes, I just put my hand up and said, yep, I'll give that a try.
I want that one, the big one.
Exactly, yep. My parents were not inclined to let me do it, because I'd already been playing the piano a little bit and didn't do any practice. So they basically held me to ransom and said, well, you have to do some practice if you want to do this. So I did, and yeah, it was kismet.
That's it. And so you studied at the Royal Northern College?
That's correct, yeah.
And then you ended up working around the Liverpool Philharmonic as well?
Well, I worked pretty much all around the country.
Wow.
As a freelancer. I have to say the driving got a little bit tiresome. Driving in the UK is not the funnest thing. I just thought I maybe shouldn't put my eggs in one or two baskets that I had them in at the time, and I went for a job in Hong Kong.
Oh, okay.
I didn't really take it as seriously as I should have, audition-wise, but I got the job. And I thought, oh, okay, well, I might as well go and live there. I've never been there. I might as well give it a try. And I absolutely loved it. It was a great city to live in and excellent orchestra.
You were in the Hong Kong Phil?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, 2 years.
2 years. Fantastic. How was that living there as an expat in Hong Kong at the time? When was it? Was it around
so it's 99 to
after
2001. So it's just after the handover, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
And I mean, I don't have any frame of reference from before the handover.
Yeah, sure.
I imagine it was pretty much the same. A few things, a few free speaking papers sort of suddenly disappeared during my time there. But on the whole, things were pretty much as they were.
Yeah.
But I loved it. It was great. Lovely people, good orchestra.
Yeah.
Amazing city to live in.
How did you make the transition from Hong Kong to Hobart?
So my mum is Australian.
Oh, okay.
So I have Australian citizenship. I have done since I was 8.
Oh, wow.
And I'd always wanted to try living in Australia, but just the hows and whys were not clear to me at the time. And an opportunity arose in 2001 whilst I was in Hong Kong to move to Sydney.
Oh, yes.
So I took that up and, I stayed.
You stayed. You had a stint with the Sydney Symphony Orchestra.
That's correct, yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but Alex Henry, one of the principal bassists there, he's also from the UK. Did you have a personal connection with him?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
In fact, he's the reason that I moved here. Yeah. I had a lesson with Alex when I was quite young, just before he moved to Sydney. So he used to be in the Philharmonia in London.
Okay, yes, fantastic.
And he shared a stand with my teacher at the time. And so he hooked us up, and I had a great lesson, actually. It's something I've never forgotten. And he remembered that, I guess, and called me when I was in Hong Kong and said, we've got some jobs, how about it?
Amazing.
I didn't get one of the jobs, but I did get a contract and was able to move to Australia and start a life here.
And then you ended up in Hobart.
By Brisbane. So I was in the Queensland Orchestra, which is what they were called at the time. Now they're the Queensland Symphony Orchestra.
Yeah, that's right.
That was great. I was associate principal up there.
Okay.
It was my first principal gig.
Yep.
I learnt a lot very quickly.
Can you tell me about that aspect of your job, leading a section? So we have 3 basses who, the viewers have seen in the bass quartet, which we'll come to soon. Being the leader of a section, you have so much more responsibility, I guess. And do you have to play differently so they can follow you? How do you approach it?
I guess you're a bit more demonstrative with what you do. You show things more than you ordinarily would if you were sitting in a section. Pizzicatos, for example, you have to actually lead them. People need to see where it's going to be rather than just rely on the force.
I always, when we have stuff together in the orchestra and there is an entry where I have to play with a pizzicato, I've got my eye on your finger a lot of the time. So in a way, you're not just leading your section, you're also helping some of us at the back of the orchestra.
I get that a lot.
Yeah.
It's kind of scary, actually.
Yeah. How much we rely on
There was a time in my tenure here where a conductor actually asked the entire orchestra to follow me, and that was really hard because half of them were facing the wrong way.
How did the cellos cope with that, with the eyes?
Not well.
Yeah, I imagine that would have been difficult.
Yeah.
So after your stint in Brisbane as the associate principal, you took up the post here as principal bassist, and one of your many highlights that you've had down here is performing the Tandun double bass concerto, which was it was a joint commission with 5 other orchestras.
Yes, it was the Concertgebouw, Royal Liverpool Philharmonic, Taiwan Symphony Orchestra, St. Louis Symphony Orchestra, and us.
Fantastic. Wow, what strange bedfellows and esteemed company.
Yes, I think one in every continent, almost.
That's amazing. The especially exciting thing about this is the TSO performed it on tour to China in 2016. And after that performance, you sort of caught Tandun's eye.
Yes, the final concert that we did on the tour was in Shanghai, and it was recorded for, I think, Shanghai Radio. Mm-hmm. Tandun heard that recording from Shanghai and invited me to perform it with him last year.
Oh, fantastic.
So I went over twice last year, first time to Shenzhen in April, and in September I went to Nanjing.
One of those performances was to quite a large stadium, if I recall.
Yes. I think there were 7,000 people in this massive stadium, which I thought was going to be completely terrifying, but actually it was quite fun.
Did you just find yourself immersed in the music at that point? And
yes, and actually I couldn't see because there were so bright lights were shining on me. I couldn't really see beyond the third row, so it didn't really feel like there were 7,000 people around me.
That's amazing. And Tandun was conducting this concerto, which is, the title is?
Wolf Totem.
Wolf Totem. How do you find projecting over an orchestra?
It's difficult.
Okay.
The bass doesn't project generally.
Yes.
It's just probably an octave too low for that. But we generally use a little bit of ambient miking, so it sort of boosts your sound a little bit above the sound of everyone else.
Right.
That really helps.
Okay, and the orchestra has to be quite restrained.
Very sensitive, yeah. Which this orchestra, of course, is.
So let's talk about the double bass quartet. How did that arise? Was this a COVID-inspired thing, or you've sort of done some quartet stuff before, I think?
Yeah, we did a quartet a few years ago, and we really enjoyed it, but it sort of fizzled out, and we didn't continue it. It's a hell of a lot of work. Suddenly, you're basically being soloists. All of you are soloists, and that's not what we're used to.
Yeah.
So, getting that sort of side of your playing up again takes quite a bit of work.
Yeah.
But we decided when this sort of whole thing went down that we needed something to keep going and really just to keep working together, actually.
Yeah.
And this was the best idea that any of us could come up with. And it's a lot of fun, actually. It's really, you're working with people that you like, people that you respect.
Yep.
It's magic, actually.
It looks like a lot of fun. You've done a lot of upbeat works. You did West Side Story, Pirates of the Caribbean. What was the other one you did?
La Traviata basses, yeah.
Okay. How did you come across these arrangements?
So these arrangements have been done by a bass player in the Royal Liverpool Philharmonic, Ashley Frampton. He's arranged quite a few really excellent things for the bass quartet. Our repertoire is a little bit limited.
I imagine.
And not all of it is good.
Yeah.
So to have these really fun arrangements is just gold.
Yeah.
Really gold. We enjoy playing them.
I loved the West Side Story one where there was the
rubbing.
percussion, the rubbing, sort of like the shuffling in the little, I forget which dance that was, but it was fantastic to listen to. You're right in the solo voices because so often you're just, plodding along so deeply, but some of these go really high.
They go to the end of the fingerboard.
Yeah. Is that cello territory?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's bass territory too, but it's just not, it's not in the orchestral repertoire that we normally play. So it's, yeah.
It's really extending you.
Yeah.
The bass quartet is going to perform Squadron 633 or 366?
633 Squadron.
633 Squadron. It's a very British sounding Squadron name. What's the story behind this piece?
So 633 Squadron was a movie from the I think it was from 1964. And the music was written by Ron Goodwin, who wrote, I think, over 50 movie scores in his lifetime, ranging from the 50s through to the 70s and 80s, I think, actually. This piece actually has a sort of childhood memory for me because my youth orchestra, the Hampshire County Youth Orchestra in the UK, played this quite often, this piece. Ron Goodwin I think he was the president of the Friends of the Hampshire County Youth Orchestra.
Oh, okay.
So he had an association with us. And every year we would do a concert of his music. Yeah. And he would give us the rights to that for nothing.
Oh, fantastic.
Which was amazing because, I mean, it's actually, as we've discovered, quite expensive to do this sort of thing.
As TSO has sort of transitioned into a quasi-media company, copyright's expensive. Yeah. So that's amazing that you guys could do that.
Yeah. He would have been in his 60s or 70s, I think, at the time. And he was so nice. He was just this lovely man. Yeah. He had amazing ears. He could pick out a mistake anywhere in the ensemble.
Oh, wow.
No matter how inconsequential it might seem, he would hear it. And he had the worst jokes.
Okay.
But for us, that was just really just excellent.
Yeah.
To have such a musician actually come in.
So would he conduct you?
Yes.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
And so this is part of a movie score. Is it something like The Dam Busters?
It's very similar.
Okay.
Yeah, it's along those lines.
Fantastic.
And it's just a short representation of the theme.
Yeah, great. How does it translate onto double bass? Obviously well enough. You like it enough to
quite well, actually. Yeah, this is a really great, as all of Ashley's arrangements are. They're really great. This is. I'm not going to say too much because you'll hear it.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thanks for coming in and chatting to us.
Pleasure.
We hope you enjoy the basses of the TSO performing 633 Squadron.